Hello, everyone, and welcome to Friend Diagram. This is the podcast where two friends catch up and find common ground between their favorite media. I'm Remy.
I'm Kat, and welcome to the Spring Horror Special, where we'll cover some of our favorite horror films from spring 2025. Warning, spoilers ahead.
Hey, Kat.
Hi, Remy. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. Just checking back in.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But we're just rolling with the punches, taking things as they come, and recording when we have time.
Yeah. And when we have stuff to talk about.
Yeah. And, when the world's not beating us into the ground.
Yeah, exactly. We just made it to June. We're recording this on June 1st now, so at least there's that, Kat.
Mm-hmm. Yes. June is a lovely month.
Mm-hmm. One of the best.
Yeah. And, we're in the ramp up to, summer horror, which is wonderful. I'm so excited for all of the upcoming films.
Yeah, and you have some upcoming trips to look forward to as well.
Yeah. So we're going to Maine this week for a wedding. So we'll get to go see my mother and father-in-law and spend some time on the lake. I'm feeling like I might be coming down with a cold, so I'm really hoping that lots of rest the next 2 days will, kind of get me feeling energetic and a lot better.
I hope so.
But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to spend some time on the lake and, touch some grass. I haven't.
See the sun.
See the sun. Yeah, I'm very pale this summer. Usually I'm a lot more tan than I currently am. But aside from that, I'm also trying to, get things together for a little backpacking trip in mid-June. I think that Scott and I are gonna go do a mini Appalachian Trail kind of backpacking trip, because this will be my first formalized backpacking trip. So I'm trying to be really reasonable about it.
Yeah.
And so I think what we'll do is park somewhere where we can get on, and it goes both ways, obviously. And so I think we'll do 10 miles out one direction. And then 10 miles back towards the car, 10 miles past that the other direction, and then 10 miles back towards the car, as long as everything's going well. But then we've got that kind of midpoint where we can decide are we still feeling, good about, am I completely sore and can't move my body anymore? So yeah, I'm really excited about it though. It'll be my first time hiking on the Appalachian Trail,
really?
Pretty much ever.
Did you go to the Catskills last summer? Where were you? I felt like you did some hiking at some point last summer.
I did. I was also very sick. That was when I, on the drive up, started getting a sore throat.
Oh,
and then I was
Kat.
I had the flu in the woods for 3 days. It was so bad.
That's so bad. That's the time when I found out Adam Driver was in that area in the same weekend. I was like,
God, I'm so glad I wasn't rotting in the woods with Adam Driver. Poor guy.
I was like, keep your eyes peeled, Kat. And you were in the meantime, I'm dying.
I was I'm in a hammock and I'm not leaving. Yeah, no. We were up by Phoenicia, the town, but I can't remember exactly where we had gone. Let me just do a quick Google. I love the diner there. If you're ever up in the Catskills, look for the Phoenicia Diner. It gives Twin Peaks vibes really hard.
Fun.
It's amazing. Where were we? I think we were in the Slide Mountain Wilderness. I'm pretty sure.
Slide Mountain Wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that name. That sounds cool. That sounds like somewhere a film should be set, or a TV episode, like the Pine Barrens. Oh, that's the episode that's in the Slide Mountain Wilderness.
Yeah.
My favorite episode of The X-Files.
It was great. Yeah, it was just dispersed camping, which was also my first time doing dispersed camping. And a boar definitely came up to our tent at one point and was snuffling around in the early hours of the morning, and I thought I was having a fever dream, and I was like, do you hear that, Scott? And he was like, Yeah, it's 4. Go back to sleep. And I was like,
Aw.
okay, I'm glad it's real. Because I thought I was
glad
just like...
it's real.
I thought I was just like hallucinating. I was so ill.
Aww.
But yeah, I'm excited, hopefully, knock on wood, that I won't be ill for my backpacking trip and that I'll be able to, like, carry my pack and not want to die. So,
yeah, knock on wood for everyone involved.
Yeah, and I just did some hiking a couple weeks ago for my friend's bachelorette, my grad school friend.
Oh, yeah. How was that trip?
It was wonderful.
Awesome.
I made so many new friends.
Aw.
We did some hiking on that trip, too, and it was, like, really nice. It was supposed to rain all weekend, and it ended up not raining, and it was really lovely.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm really looking forward to doing some hiking once I get back north again.
I know. When do you think you'll move?
The plan is around 4th of July. So I'll have extended time off around there so we can do like an incremental road trip across the country once again.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah. So potentially very soon.
Yee! I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
We should go do some hiking. That would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
What have you been up to this summer?
The spring?
I consider it summer, but by the definition, I know that it's still spring.
I know. It feels like it's summer, especially down here in Louisiana. Sure. It feels like it's been summer for a minute. I've just been, I don't know. Have I been doing anything that special lately? Nothing too crazy. I guess a lot of crawfish boils, I would say, is like the notable timely thing that I've done a lot this spring, because that's the season for crawfish, and that's been fun, especially at my sister-in-law's house.
That's so interesting. Do you cook crawfish alive, or are they already dead?
They're mostly alive. Yeah, it's like a lobster.
It's like a lobster. Yeah. Interesting. Do they have like the toxin? Like, because I know you can't kill lobsters before cooking them because of like the toxin.
Oh, is that why?
Right, Scott?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if it's so much toxic, but I know that it fouls the meat. Like, I don't know if it's poisonous, but it's not.
I don't know.
But I thought that it had more to do with the like raw shellfish. It doesn't last long in the best of circumstances. Yeah. I think that lobsters are kind of dirty bottom-feeding animals.
Dirty bottom-feeding animals.
Disgusting lobsters.
You heard it here first, folks. Oh, man. I would love a lobster roll. Can we get a lobster roll?
Sure.
Very soon.
Yeah, crawfish. What do crawfish taste like? Lobster or crab?
I'd say much more like lobster, in my opinion, for sure. But they're cooked in like seasoned water. That's part of that's the major difference, is you're boiling them in like a huge vat of seasoned water with like potatoes and corn and garlic and celery and all kinds of other stuff that then you also eat with the crawfish as well.
Oh, it's kind of like a pot roast or like boiled dinner.
Exactly, I think. Yeah.
I love that. That's fun.
Yeah. So there's a lot more variety, which pleases me.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's one of the highlights so far. But also I've just been going to the movies a lot now that I can.
Wonderful.
And for some reason, I've been seeing a lot of horror movies this spring. And just wanted to give you a quick rundown of some of the ones I've seen, and then we can launch into 2 that we have both seen that we really wanted to highlight for the main chunk of this episode.
Perfect.
So a quick rundown of some spring horror. I saw The Woman in the Yard that has Danielle Deadwyler in it. Worth seeing. Interesting. Worth checking out, for sure.
I had low expectations for that.
Well, I think that's good going in.
Yeah.
But still, worth checking out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hell of a Summer, Finn Wolfhard's like summer slasher flick. That was really fun and funny.
Oh, I would love to watch that. Yeah, I missed that in the theater, but
yeah, definitely some good jokes in there, worth checking out. Drop, the one with the airdrops in the Sky Needle restaurant. With that great actress from White Lotus season 2. I don't know, I can't remember her name right now, but she's very good. That's fun, suspenseful, but also funny sometimes, and great love interest in that one. Good counterpart, This one I didn't see in theaters, but I was tracking the release of Dead Mail on Shudder, and because I was looking forward to it because the plot sounded really cool. It's about a dead letter post office worker, like the dead letter office where mail that can't be sent because no one can tell where it's meant to go. It all gets sent to the dead mail center. A guy there gets a mysterious bloody note in the mail with no address, and it's just like, please help. Please send help to this house on this road. And that's it. And he has to figure out what's going on. And that's called Dead Mail. That's worth checking out on Shudder. If you have that plug-in. Yeah. The Shrouds, the new David Cronenberg film. Not my favorite Cronenberg, but worth checking out. Very much more, I think, autobiographical and revealing than most of his works. So, interesting. Yeah, a very grief-heavy film, but has a lot going on in it. I saw Clown in a Cornfield. That is based on a book series, and I saw a Q&A with the writer, the author of the books, after the screening that I attended, and he seems like a really cool guy, and he is I think he's an English teacher in Philadelphia, or he was at the time of writing the novels. It's become a series of novels now, and he wrote them, I think they're middle grade novels, but he wanted them to be like a light introduction to horror, and also a way to get kids more interested in reading in those age groups.
That's amazing. So, it's like a Goosebumps type vibe.
Kind of, yeah.
That's wonderful.
I'd say one step beyond Goosebumps, probably. Totally. Like, people are definitely getting maimed and murdered in this film, but it's still kind of intermediate, but fun.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so neat.
And then speaking of maimed and murdered, I saw Final Destination Bloodlines.
Oh my God. What did you think?
Oh my God. I should have a rating scale on Letterboxd that is how sweaty were my hands during this film. They would get 10 out of 10 sweaty digits. My hands were so sweaty. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because I've been revisiting and or filling in the gaps of other Final Destinations that I hadn't seen. This is the 6th installment. And in all of the other ones, the characters aren't that likable. And so I'm not that perturbed about the very stressful circumstances that they're in. Yeah. But in Bloodlines, I do actually like them and care. And so I was so worried for them.
Oh, the trailer was really intense. I saw that trailer in the theater and I was really on edge.
With the backyard barbecue? Oh my God, it's so expertly suspenseful.
And like the glass and the ice.
In the ice.
My nightmare.
And that's the rake under the trampoline.
Fear. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a lot.
It was really well done.
Yeah. And it's been really well rated. Yeah. For like a reboot kind of moment. Like, absolutely. Good for them. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it definitely ranks in the top half of the series. And a lot of people are saying it's the best of the series, which is just incredible for a 6th installment.
Yeah, I've only ever seen one, and it was the one with like the logs and the LASIK eye surgery.
That's okay. Interesting. The logs are in the 2nd one, and the LASIK eye surgery I think is in the 5th one. I want to say.
Oh, maybe I've seen 2.
Maybe a couple. The log truck is iconic. I said that on a work call.
I think about the logs all the time.
Yeah, the logs, unbeatable, incredible.
Yeah, every time I'm like on the highway, I'm like, wow, I'm really glad there's not a truck with logs in front of me.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
And every time Will and I are walking down the street now and something looks like slightly askew or there's water dripping onto anything that might be mildly electrical, we're like, death is here.
Oh my God.
We're seeing Final Destination around every corner. It really penetrates the psyche.
It's very upsetting. I've always found those movies very upsetting. They stick with me.
They're like a equal mix of fun and upsetting, which is hard to pull off, but I admire it, and Bloodlines does a fantastic job.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the concept of like almost like a slasher, but it's all just like chance occurrences, which is just neat. It's such a neat concept, and you can see why it's become such a franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, and that film's been really successful, which I was surprised by, but it's a really pleasant surprise. Mm-hmm. So, really fun. So that's my really quick rundown of some of the horror I've seen this spring outside of the Overlook Film Festival. But Kat and I also wanted to spotlight 2 major original horror features that have come out this spring that we wanted to talk about in more detail. So first we'll discuss Sinners, because Kat has now seen it as well.
Finally.
And then we'll also discuss Bring Her Back, which we both saw just yesterday. Mm-hmm. So that one's much fresher.
Almost at the exact same showtimes, too.
I know, which was not organized, but yeah, we just spontaneously saw that at the exact same time. Can't wait to talk about that. But let's first touch on Sinners, because it came out first back in April. Mm-hmm. And I hope listeners to this pod are already familiar with it and have already seen it. But if you don't know, Sinners was written and directed by Ryan Coogler, and it stars Michael B. Jordan ×2 and Miles Canton, among many others. And it is a film set in 1932, and it follows identical twin brothers who are returning to Clarksdale, Mississippi, where they work to set up a juke joint with the help of some local business people and musicians, including their very talented cousin, Sammy. Mm-hmm. And as things are heating up on opening night of the juke joint, some vampires descend on that location, and that spurs a siege that forces our crew to struggle internally and externally to survive. Mm-hmm. So, Kat, now that you've finally seen Sinners and it's more fresh in your mind, how'd you feel leaving the theater?
Oh, God, that movie was such a good time. It's so, I feel like it's got rewatchability, like coming out of its ass. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Energizing.
It was really well done. I wasn't sure really what to expect because I haven't seen much from the director, Ryan Coogler, before.
Yeah, me neither.
He did like the Black Panther movie. And
he's done a lot of franchise stuff, which is why I haven't seen most of his stuff. He did both Black Panther movies. He did 2 of the Creed reboot movies.
Which he would have worked with Michael B. Jordan on.
Exactly,
as well.
Yeah. Yep. So they've worked on all of those together. And I think the one I would check out first would be Fruitvale Station, because that's just a standalone film. Also with Michael B. Jordan in it.
They love each other. It's great.
I know. It's great. I love when there's a nice, like, actor-director duo that it feels comfortable and is happy collaborating in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was also my first Ryan Coogler, so I also didn't know what to expect. And there was, like, viewing the trailer, there were some exciting things that I was interested in, but I was like, I hope this works. Like, I could see this not working. I really hope it works. And so I was really pleased to hear that it worked for basically everyone that saw it.
Yeah. I mean, it was really, it had a great, fun soundtrack with a lot of, like, kind of, diverse musical motifs. Like, you get a little bit of, like, Irish jig vibes. You get a little bit like bluesy, a lot of like blues type music,
and blues is so central to the narrative. Yes. But there's a lot of motifs that they expand on beyond that make sense within the story they're telling and the themes they're conveying.
Yeah.
Did Johan Göransson do some of the score? Did I dream that?
Let me look it up really quick. I've got the IMDb right here. Let's see. All cast and crew. Ludwig Göransson is what you said?
Oh, I think I called him Johan Göransson, but I meant Ludwig Göransson.
Ludwig, yeah.
Sorry, Ludwig.
He was the composer, yes.
Cool. Yeah, it was like really fresh and original, and I also really liked how it was unapologetically adult, both in terms of like sex and violence content. The squib budget on this movie must have been insane. There's so much like fake blood spraying everywhere. Incredible. Yeah, I just like that it really went for it. It wasn't like softened.
No, it was shocking in some moments. It was suspenseful, and it had a lot of humor in it, which you know I love in a horror film. And I just thought the balance was really magical. I think it was, I mean, it's one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. Yeah.
The balance was great, and Ryan Coogler did a really great job of taking the time to set up each of the like central characters and letting you get to know them really well and see them interact, get a window into what's going on in their lives, what they're working toward, and make you care about them. Because once the siege begins, you need to care about all of those people that you're rooting for.
Yeah.
And he did an excellent job of making everyone, like, you understand all of the characters, you understand the differences between Smoke and Stack, the twins played by Michael B. Jordan, and you have a great grasp on some of the struggles that are going to unfold moving forward. But he did a great job of making you care about every single person that was in the juke joint.
Yeah.
So
everyone felt really fleshed out.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have had the same emotional stakes otherwise if we were just like, didn't really know them, didn't really care. I felt invested in how everyone was going to get out of there.
Yeah. And I felt like that's a real feat, considering the whole movie takes place over like one day and one night.
Exactly.
Which they just like nailed it. That must be really hard to like write all of that nuance into all those characters and get that across really well. With such a short timeline for the film. Yeah,
because the vampires don't play a big role until like the second half of the movie easily, right? Like a lot of the first half is getting just logistics of setting things up. And I told Will after we left the theater, I was like, I would have watched them just open the business for 3 movies. Like, I really liked them like assembling the staff and like making decisions and just doing all of that.
Yeah. I mean, you could totally see like more of a like, you know, kind of gangstery type film or like TV series. Where like you're just like seeing them, you know, try to tackle like being in a you know, deficit. Like they're struggling because they're not getting enough money for that alcohol, and there's also like subplots where like they've stolen from the
Chicago mob.
And so it's like, and they like have them pointing fingers at each other, the two different sides, and they're like just hoping that no one discovers it's them.
Definitely not us, the guys that left town.
You could totally see that with no vampires, like just being a really good concept for a movie or a television show, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think one other thing that's really pleasant and successful about the movie is that there's a lot of thematic richness to it, and some of it involves the vampires and some of it doesn't. Like a lot of the great themes of the movie are about like the transcendental nature of music and how that is like can transport you through time and space, and how it's so important for conveying culture across time. And that is a perfectly rich theme that has nothing to do with the horror aspects of the film. So there's a lot of meat on the bone outside of the genre aspects. But like for people like you and me, the genre aspects just elevate it as a whole.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I really liked the portrayal of the vampires and sinners as well. I liked that they made them really original, because even in the trailer, like, I wasn't 100% sure, and I didn't do a lot of digging to, like, learn more before going in. I wasn't really sure if we were just looking at, like, possession or, like, a demon or, like, what was going on there. And so I went in kind of blind. I didn't even know vampires, so I was pleasantly surprised. And I really loved almost this, like, Borg mentality that they chose for them to have, you know, like, where the moment they, like, are converted into the vampire, there's, like, this mob mentality, this, like, community.
A hive mind.
Yeah, hive mind. And I thought that was very different and very original. But I liked that they also kept, like, traditional aspects of vampire lore as well, like the needing an invitation. I know,
that's my favorite part.
Yeah. And I thought that set up just some really good tense moments, especially as, like, the crew on the inside is learning what's going on. Like, the payment scene where he's like, well, won't you at least pay me, kind of a thing. Just, like, really great suspenseful moments, and you're like, no,
don't fall for that.
Don't fuck it up. But also, like, the Molotov cocktail moment, with the shopkeeper's wife. Love that moment. I was like, this bitch is unhinged, and I know. Her.
I was so mad at her.
I was there for it. I was like, all right, we're just in it now. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I love how they kind of, like, shaped the lore of the vampires with a lot of traditional elements, but then also I thought Ryan Coogler interwove a lot of really great thematic perspectives on the vampires themselves. Like, they weren't just, like, cardboard cutout stand-ins for a bad force. Like, I think there was a lot more commentary on structures of power and structures of control, and how even if you're, you know, in a group of people that have finally thrown off one structure of control, there's other structures of control that will be imposed on you to fill that vacuum, and you have to make the choice to reject those structures. Which is why I like that the film is really, at its heart, a film that centers on Sammy's character and his decision of embracing music or embracing a religious life. And I really liked that conflict and that decision is at the heart of the movie and is important throughout the course of his experience of this very long day and very long night.
Yeah.
I thought that was done really well, and I thought Ryan Coogler really deftly messaged about that with his portrayal of the vampires and what works on them and what doesn't work on them, because it's actually something that's in their bag of tricks. Yeah, I would say my only, like, drawbacks from the film itself were things that, to me, kind of rung of studio notes. Like, I'd say 98% of my problems took place in the first 5 minutes, where there was, like, a lot of voiceover exposition. And I think that they shouldn't have started it in media res with Sammy returning. Like, why would you tell me up front that Sammy's gonna survive the night? How am I supposed to be worried for Sammy after that? And it's like, I didn't need that flash forward, because if you just started the movie in real time, you'd be starting with Sammy in the church with his dad anyway, and you'd still have the same correct bookends that the story needs. And you'd still be framing it with Sammy's arc correctly without the flash forward. I was like, I wish they would cut that, like, first 5-minute voiceover and flash forward out. And I think that just seemed like something Warner Brothers might have made him do. Let's see. Do you have a favorite character from Sinners? There's, like, a great ensemble. Lots of good people to choose from. Who really stood out to you?
Ooh, that is such a good question. I really loved, sorry, just a moment. Let's see. I don't remember her name. I think it was Smoke's partner.
That's my favorite, Annie.
I love her.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Smoke's ex-wife, or like estranged wife, Annie, played by Wunmi Mosaku. She was my favorite as well. She fucking rocked.
Yeah. Oh, dude, she was so cool.
She was cool. I love her store. I would love to hang out in there.
Yeah. I like her, like, little witchcraft type business that she's running. She's a little entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool as fuck. And awesome. She, like, had the most, like, down-to-earth approach as well. She was capable.
Her knowledge base was really valuable, too.
Yes. And she was the first one to, like, figure out what's going on here. Which is, like, the most important, you know, I don't know. I think that they all would have died if she hadn't, you know, figured things out when she did.
Yeah.
Because she was like, let's be questioning. Let's be suspicious.
Very possibly, yes.
She's so fucking smart. I loved her. Yes.
She was awesome. Yeah. Glad we agree.
For once. Usually we have different favorites.
My favorite moment was probably when Smoke has the Tommy gun at the end after Daybreak. And he also just has to deal with the humans then after that. Smoke's Tommy gun rampage was probably my favorite part because that was so satisfying.
It was.
And it left it on, like, there was like a moment of satisfaction towards the end there from that.
Yeah, and I would say I also really liked the post-credit scene.
Yeah, me too.
We were like on our way out, like we hadn't sat through all of the credits yet, and we like saw something flash up on the screen, and I was like, oh my god, there's more. I've been tricked. So we came back and we sat back down in our seats.
I thought that was really fun.
It was great. It was awesome. And, you know, kind of had a positive spin on things. Like, I really liked the idea that once the, like, demon or, like, lead vampire or whatever was kind of out of the equation, the other vampires no longer had that, like, hive mind mentality and could, like, you know, live ostensibly normal, chill vibes kind of lives. And, like, just be chill about it. And I really liked that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I liked having that closure with Sammy after his big decision and seeing how he chose the right thing and how he was happy with that. And, yeah, I loved being able to check in with him again at the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, what a pleasant surprise that it's been so successful. Yeah, I mean, horror is just, it's propping up the box office. Horror and kids' movies are keeping things alive right now.
The two ends.
So, yeah, I mean, we got to keep this train rolling. Yeah, I got to tell you, Kat, I have a very clear double feature film for Sinners that I need the listeners to know. If you liked Sinners, you have to see 40 Acres. It got dated for July 2nd. I talked about it in the Overlook Film Festival recap and how it was my favorite film of the festival. I think it's a perfect complement to Sinners because it's also very siege heavy and it's a big group of characters that you're very heartily rooting for. And if you're okay with the level of violence in Sinners, you'll be fine with the level of violence in 40 Acres. And so I cannot recommend it enough. It's very much in like this vein of horror and exciting. Oh my god, it's very exciting. So if you were energized by Sinners, 40 Acres is equally energizing. So definitely check that out. I would also say don't watch the trailer for 40 Acres if you can manage it because it gives away some key moments that are just absolute exhilaration in the film itself. So if you can go in blind, I highly encourage it.
I'm really excited about that. I wrote down for a potential double feature that I would recommend the 1996 film From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes,
seen that?
100%.
It's very similar. But I think it does that balance quite well. But obviously, I think that you don't get nearly as attached to, like, the huge ensemble. It's more just, like, a very...
really hoping QT dies in that movie. He sucks so bad.
He does.
His character is so fucking obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like, please, somebody get him.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a classic. Got George Clooney in it. Quentin Tarantino. Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a very fun one. I think that was definitely an influence on
for sure.
Sinners. But yeah, another, like, Vampire Siege.
Yeah. But I would say Sinners definitely does it better. If I had to choose one or the other, I would say Sinners does the Vampire Siege better than From Dusk Till Dawn, but it's still a really fun,
very
fun movie,
Great matte painting at the end of From Dusk Till Dawn, when they show the back end of the strip joint.
Yeah.
That's a matte painting.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Okay, Kat. Do you feel like you have the stamina to talk about our second major horror film from the spring?
Yeah, you're like, if you can handle the violence in Sinners, you'll be fine. And I was like, oh, well, wait till we talk about the violence and Bring Her Back.
Well, Bring Her Back, I would put some different disclaimers around Bring Her Back. Some much more, like, heavy disclaimers.
Yeah.
This is Bring Her Back is a film you and I just saw yesterday. It's directed by Danny and Michael Philippou. This is their follow-up to Talk to Me. Mm-hmm. And it's written by Danny Philippou and Bill Hinsman. It stars Billy Barrett, Sora Wong, and Sally Hawkins. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, a very different experience.
Yeah.
From Sinners, I would say. Absolutely, yeah, unhinged. The very brief synopsis is that Bring Her Back follows two recently orphaned siblings who have to find the fortitude to move beyond the loss of their father while trying to gain purchase in their new foster home where things don't seem right with their new foster family. To put it lightly.
Yeah. I think that's a bit generous. Don't seem right. Seems generous. No, yeah, I think that's a perfect synopsis without giving too much away.
I would say, yeah, before we get into spoiler territory, the one thing you should know going in is that, A24 is producing and distributing this film, and I've been seeing their ad campaign on Instagram all this week, and it's like pull quotes from people exiting screenings of the movies, and all the quotes are like, I feel fucking sick. I'm never gonna recover from this. I was disturbed. and I read that and I'm like, yeah, they all say that now. They all say that. Mm-hmm. That's part of every marketing campaign, whatever. And then I was in the film and I was like, oh my God, I should have believed all those people. Like, this is the first time the film lives up to that type of hype. So
maybe don't buy popcorn because I don't know if you'll be able to eat it.
Just be warned that I believe that hype, believe that campaign this time. And if you think that is okay for you, then definitely go see it because it's a very well made, well done film. Extremely. But you need to know that you're walking into something that is difficult to withstand at times.
And if you've seen Talk to Me, you'll know a little bit of kind of what we're talking about here. But I would say that amped up even more than Talk to Me.
Definitely. Yeah.
Talk to Me times like 5.
Let's do a spoiler demarcation here.
Okay.
But I want to continue that thread of evolution since Talk to Me, because I feel like just as a whole, this film is a big jump up from Talk to Me not just in terms of like the violence and the disturbing elements, but I think it's a big step up and a big evolution in characterization. And I think it's just it's not even that the scope is grander, but I think it's a richer film than Talk to Me. There's like a lot more under the surface that is informing what you're seeing, but you'd never dig down into it in the plot itself. And so it feels more like an iceberg to me than Talk to Me did. And I think it's a great trajectory for Danny and Michael. I think this is definitely showing that they're not just like one-trick ponies. They have a lot going on, and they're certainly capable of evolving.
Yeah. I will agree that I thought that the writing of, and just overall story that's being told is like stronger and more cohesive of a project than I felt like Talk to Me was. But I will say, Talk to Me, I would say that I prefer Talk to Me to this film. Like, I would rank it higher in my own, like, emotional ranking system because it's just a good time. Especially at the beginning, there's, like, something electric about the seance scene and, like, where it's got that music and it's filmed really interestingly. And, I just think that it hooked me in a way that I was having a good time when I was first hooked. And I would say that from the get-go, in Bring Her Back, it is not a good, fun, happy time, ever. No one's having a good, fun, happy time.
There's like one brief reprieve where there's a very small, intimate party that is fun for a moment, but just sinister undertones pervade. And, but otherwise very, you're getting hit from every angle with heavy material.
Yeah, and so in terms of, like, balance, I mean, it's kind of a hard, the topics contained within this film are hard to have a good, fun time with. And there's, like, a lot of themes of abuse and manipulation, and, it's a very, like, stressful film, but extremely well done. The only reason I would I can acknowledge that this is probably objectively a better project. Talk to Me was just kind of like lightning in a bottle for me in terms of like the basic concept and the paranormal aspect and things like that. But I love, love, love the art direction and the prosthetics and the makeup in both the films. I think that is something that really sets the Philippou brothers apart. Like, they go hard into the visual, like the practical visual effects that we're seeing, and it is upsetting.
Yeah, it pays off. It completely pays off.
It's upsetting, guys. That's what makes you sick, is like the combination of that visual aspect and then the sound design. Oh, so upsetting.
Very effective in many different scenes. And I completely agree. The practical nature of what they're doing, it's so much more visceral than any like CGI stuff would ever look, and it's very effective. But you mentioned that the film was stressful throughout, and I would completely agree. And I would say, like, if we were just, like, dealing with the like, gore aspects of it, I would say the film is, like, disturbing at times. But I completely agree it is very stressful. And I found it particularly stressful because we're following Billy Barrett's character, Andy. He's the older brother of the two siblings. We're mostly following him throughout the movie. And he's such a sympathetic character. And Billy Barrett is doing such a great performance of making you really care about Andy and sympathize with Andy, and seeing the horrible, like, position he's put in across, like, a bunch of different scenarios where his character is in doubt, or he's doubting his own, like, sanity. And I'm so stressed out for Andy, and I'm so stressed out for his younger sister, played by Sora Wong. Piper is her character's name. And I'm just so worried for Andy and Piper the whole time. And I'm so frustrated with how Andy's being treated that is what was stressful to me throughout the film.
Yeah, because for more context, I mean, if you're in the spoilers and you haven't seen it, this is just a little bit of extra context. Piper is nearly completely blind. She can see like lights and shadows and maybe silhouettes or something, but on the whole, she's blind. And so she's only getting part of the information. And so there are ways that the foster mom is manipulating that and like essentially framing the brother for doing certain things and exposing moments where he might not have given her the whole truth, and just like really manipulative behavior that it was driving me insane to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sally Hawkins, who plays the stepmother, is very good
amazing
at being, you know, falsely sweet to Piper in many moments, but just abysmally manipulative to Andy in other moments, and then completely unhinged and desperate with grief in her alone time.
Yeah.
And her performance has so much range, but my God, like, just there is just so much frustration with what Andy is going through. And that's kind of why I would say my favorite sequence is towards the end of the film, where Andy finally gets Wendy, the foster placement
God bless
administrator, to come to the actual house. And because it's a pretty intimate film most of the time. It's mostly just Piper, Andy, and the foster mom and their foster brother Oliver in the house.
Yeah. Can't forget about Oliver.
Oh, please don't. And finally, and like, it's just a pressure cooker of a like gaslighting ecosystem around Andy, and finally he gets somebody to at least partially believe him enough to feel obligated to check things out in person. And I was like, if Wendy doesn't pull through in this sequence, I'm going to be so pissed, because I need at least one other person to at least acknowledge that Andy's not crazy to his face. And at least I got that. Like, sure.
It doesn't last long.
It doesn't last long. But at least I felt like Andy knew he wasn't crazy. And that was really important to me. And so at least I got that from the sequence with Wendy's, you know, welfare visit. So, A for effort, Wendy. Thanks for trying.
And sorry, I'm just thinking about that scene. I'm also just thinking about Oliver, because it's hard not to think about Oliver, honestly. He's intense. He's an intense little boy. But his like transformation throughout the film is really intense.
Very.
And very upsetting. What did you make of the scene where she hears her brother, Andy, sorry. The sister hears Andy, Piper hears Andy, and it's actually Oliver, like, projecting, or like from the area that Oliver is. He's like projecting Andy's voice. And that's like the moment that she kind of figures things out, because she's like, who is this? Like, that's certainly not my brother. And then she like puts two and two together and like knows to be questioning.
I would say that is one example of a decision I like in this film, where the Philippoos don't go out of their way to over-explain things. And I feel like if this had been part of a major studio, like Warner Brothers, that would have been voiced over or over-explained at some point. But my assumption is that it has to do with a similar mechanism that we saw at work earlier in the film, where in the shower, where the stepmother, I forget Sally Hawkins' character's name. Is it Laura?
Laura, yes.
Laura. Laura takes some hair from Andy and Piper's deceased father at his funeral, and then later feeds it to Oliver, which is upsetting to view.
The worst spaghetti.
And as part of this extensive ritual that she's using Oliver as a vessel for, when he ingests elements of a newly deceased body, he can, at least for some time, inhabit that form of the deceased. And so I guess I don't know if it's proportionate to the amount consumed or if there's other factors at play, but I think she probably did something similar to the father hair trick when Andy's voice was being projected in that later part. Or he
went rogue and just ate part of Andy.
Or that, yeah, because he was just kind of had a general feeding drive
super
by
hungry,
that time.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's like truly the scariest part of that film.
But like a really successful performance
by
that child actor.
Yeah.
Do you have his name?
His name is Jonah Wren Phillips.
Because it wouldn't work if he wasn't scary and foreboding and completely unhinged. And he does a really great job of making you feel completely unsettled wordlessly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Lots of behaviors from all of it.
I know. I have like my pros and cons list. My first pro is damn fine acting. My first con is Squirm City. I was squirming around this whole time. I was so glad there was no one in the seat in front of me because I kept like pushing my legs into the chair in front of me because I just like had nowhere else to put the tension in my body. I was just like, this is so hard to watch. I would say the cantaloupe scene was the one that got me the most. Yeah,
definitely.
But there were many squirm scenes, but the cantaloupe one sticks in the mind for me.
Yeah, for me it's the splinters in the mouth. But yeah, it was definitely a lot. I mean, I would wholeheartedly recommend it to any like hardcore horror fan. Like if you like to talk to me and you think you could handle more, or you liked, I would feel like this thematically is similar to Hereditary and like similar in the level of discomfort, like psychosocial discomfort, I feel like. And even like the casting of the two moms feels like similar. Like the foster mom and the mom in Hereditary felt like similarly unhinged vibes.
I could see that.
Gaunt. But if you like those vibes and you think you could handle even a little bit more and maybe the grossest parts of Nosferatu, go for it. I am just on the cusp of like being that kind of hardcore horror fan, and I really enjoyed. I mean, I thought it was an excellently made film, and I enjoyed it a lot. But I think if that's not your vibe, you're probably not going to have a good time, and that's okay. You don't have to watch it if you don't think you're going to enjoy it, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like if you're super squeamish, I would avoid it.
Absolutely. And I think Hereditary is a great watermark for that, like, psychosocial discomfort, like you said, Kat. So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it's still also just a very unique film.
So unique.
Very unique, original, just... I can't wait to see the reception on this one, since it's so new. I don't really know what the consensus is going to be. Is it?
It is. It's like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, good.
And it usually doesn't change much past opening weekend, and I just checked right before this, so, I mean...
And I think I saw the cinema score was like a B+, which is the one where it's basically how much did this live up to your expectation of what it was going to be.
I see.
And that's often very disjointed for horror movies, so they always get like terrible cinema scores because people are like, I thought it would be so scary, but it was actually insightful and I hated it. And so for this one, it seems like it's matching what people are expecting. And that's good, because I don't want anyone to go into this unsuspecting.
Yeah, watch the trailer first, and if the trailer seems good to you... Oh, gosh, I can't believe we didn't even touch on this. One of my favorite parts is all of, like, the found footage videotape vibes that she's watching. Wow. Those were really intense. I really liked that. That added to the whole experience for me. Mm-hmm. That added a lot of like really interesting lore. And you're not really sure how she comes into possession of these tapes, but at first, like, I thought, like, oh, she's part of, like, a cult or something, and I was really glad that it wasn't that. Like, I was really glad that it was deeper than that and had more meaning than just, like, hateful cult vibes. Like, it was so much more meaningful as a film. And I would say that it has some really insightful commentary on grief, and
certainly,
I mean, similar to the way Talk to Me had really amazing commentary on like the danger of grief and kind of the slippery slope that hope can have. I mean, you see that on full display here, and it is unhinged, but it is so insightful. And so I think anyone who's like lost somebody can understand that kind of drive to be with that person again. And I mean, I think it's just it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because this was a perfectly like well-adjusted person prior to this major trauma that happens to her. And she becomes a really terrible person. And I mean, I don't know. I thought it was just excellent character writing, specifically for the foster mom.
Yeah, I really liked the like DIY Russian Resurrection at Home tapes as well. I really liked that they were grainy VHSs. I think they were in Russian. The characters looked...
I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Like that, but they're not in a language I understand, and they're very grainy and old and confusing. And they have a couple, section headers go up on the screen that can give you some exposition. That is great, but it's no more exposition than you absolutely need.
No.
And I really liked that.
It adds to the mystery.
Yeah, but it still like signposts a couple key aspects of what's to come in this process. So you only know exactly what you need to know. I'm glad you liked the found footage tapes. How did you feel about Junkman?
Oh, Junkman.
Junkman.
No wonder that cat kept trying to get outside. Holy shit. That poor cat. Junkman. I don't think we ever see Junkman again.
No, I think they leave that up to you.
I'm hopeful that Junkman made it past the circle. And that circle was impressive. When we like do that, like zoom out over the property, I was like, holy shit. Love Junkman.
I think Junkman lives in the woods now. Yeah.
Or listen, I hope maybe the girl finds him and
maybe
they trauma bond.
Maybe.
God, yeah. I just wish horror ended more with like all of your main characters getting out okay, you know?
I know, but then I would be like, no. Then I'd be like, no, the stakes were off. If that were the case.
I know.
Yeah,
but I want the stakes to be off.
I'm fine with how it resolved, even though it did hurt my heart.
Yeah.
But I'm just really curious to see how everyone else feels about the film. I hope they like it as much as you and I.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'll be watching it again, but I think it's definitely like worth the watch if you can stomach it.
This one's for the sickos. It's true.
Yeah, but it's special for sure.
Yeah. Makes me excited to see what they do next, for sure.
I know. There's a Talk to Me too, like
that's
in the works. So I'm excited about that. I'm curious about it. I don't know what other projects they're thinking of taking on quite yet, but I'm excited to see where they go.
Me too.
I hope maybe a little less Squirm City.
A little less Squirm City. Maybe just Squirm Town.
Yeah.
Please.
Squirm Village.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an excellent story. So I do hope that people really like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just intense. It did give me a migraine.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to report on that. Oh, yeah. And that I tried to warn you because we spontaneously went at almost the exact same time. I think I got out like an hour before you.
You did.
And I tried to send you a text because I knew you were really excited for this because you like to talk to me so much. But after viewing the film, I was like, I want to warn Kat that it's more intense, but I don't want to scare her away from seeing it. But I feel like I must say something. And so I texted you. I forget, what did I even say? I said, bring her back is actually as intense as the marketing campaign suggests. And so I was hoping that would give you the information you needed to gird yourself. But little did I know, you're probably watching the table chomping scene at that very moment.
I was. Oh, man. Yeah. Chomp indeed. I don't even know if my teeth could hold up, you know?
No.
But he did have some sharp chompers by that point.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Ow.
Yeah. That was great. Good cinema, dude. And there's more on tap for the summer. I saw lots of good trailers.
So excited.
Yeah, we've got 40 Acres. We've got, what did I just write down today? I was doing some recon because I'm trying to be better about using my movie subscription. So I was trying to look at some release dates for the upcoming months.
Yeah, I'm interested in Dangerous Animals, 28 years later, Together, and then obviously Weapons. It's going to be our capstone of the summer horror season, and I'm most excited for that by far.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's about all I've got too. Not exactly horror, but by one of our favorite horror directors. Life of Chuck should be, making the rounds this summer as well. Yeah, I'm excited. I also saw The Ritual will be coming out soon.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little interested in.
I am. Let me tell you about my interest in that film. It starts and ends with the fact that Al Pacino plays the fucking priest. I was explaining it to Will the other day. I was like, let me tell you the one sentence blurb about this movie. It's a movie about the last big exorcism, and it's the most intense exorcism that there's gonna be, and then the priest is played by Al Pacino, and then my interest just skyrockets at the end of the sentence.
And I think it's set in Iowa, which I'm excited about as well.
Oh, that's fun.
I think the true story that it's based on is a small town in Iowa.
I cannot imagine Al Pacino ever existing in Iowa. I think those are incompatible things.
I can't wait. That should be coming out in the next few weeks, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's
next
a June
week.
Release. Okay,
I think June 6th, I want to say.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm going to try to catch that. I'm not sure if it'll actually be good, but I love an exorcism movie. Seeing that has me in the mood to rewatch The Last Exorcism, which is one of my all-time favorites. So maybe I will. And you guys should too if you haven't seen it, because it's fucking great found footage film.
Yep, and then we'll just be also filling you guys in on all of our other non-horror favorites from the summer too. There's plenty of...
We'll see.
Just normie stuff. Oh, we'll see if we're back again?
No. I'm saying we'll see if I watch anything other than horror this summer.
You will. There's new Wes. There's all kinds of stuff. There's a new Jurassic World.
I know. With
fucking
John...
Mahershala Ali.
Jonathan
Who looks
Bailey.
sick as hell in the trailer with his beret.
Yeah.
He looks so cool. I can't wait for Mahershala.
I am excited about the new Jurassic World. I hope that it's decent, because the last few movies, not good.
I haven't even seen the last few, but I am I know. I was
one of them just didn't make any sense. Like the last one that came out, and I was like, I'm baffled. I just don't know anything.
Yeah, I think I saw the very first one that Chris Pratt was in, and then none since then. But there's something different about the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer that is really catching my interest. Yeah. I think the cast looks way better, and it looks like a premise that is contained to one idea, and that's good.
Yeah, I am excited about that. I am also excited about The Materialists.
Me too.
That looks great.
And don't forget about Eddington. It's coming in July.
I did see the trailer for Eddington. I'm not sure. I'm reserving the right to not enjoy it.
Of course. I mean, you have that for every film, Kat.
No, but I don't, because I love most films. I feel like I'm just such an easy person to please.
You always have the right to not enjoy it.
I know. After Beau is Afraid, I'm a little nervous, but Joaquin does look like I could get down with that. I could follow Joaquin in this movie, so we'll see. It's not like a similar part to Beau. Poor Beau. Anyways, we will be updating you. We will be back this summer.
We'll be back at some point, for sure. Thanks for joining us this week on Friend Diagram. Thank you to Tyler Seek for the creation of our intro and outro music. Did you take any of our recommendations? Have any thoughts on the show? Let us know at frienddiagrampod@gmail.com, and we might read your email on a future episode. If you can, please take a moment to rate and review the show on your podcast app of choice, and we'll see you back here, same place next week. Bye for now.